Burka supports executives, managers, and organizations in achieving excellence, growth, and sustainable impact. Visit our website www.burkafrica.com for more information.
If you go and date a man full of disappointment, and you begin, maybe you might be a very good man, I can't keep to certain disappointment.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the overview of the African Youth Leadership Development Conference 2026. I am Alexandra, and I will be your host and your moderator for today's session. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today. Today's discussion is focused on leadership, youth empowerment, innovation, mentorship, and the roles young Africans can play in shaping the future of our dear continent. The purpose of this webinar is to reflect on the vision, lessons, and major conversations from the AYLDP Conference 2026. We will be discussing leadership, we will be discussing entrepreneurship, emotional intelligence, civic engagement, mentorship, and ethical leadership. Before we begin, here are just a few quick guidelines. Please keep your microphones muted unless invited to speak, and please feel free to participate in the chat section. We have with us today Gideon Dekbe, who is a youth development and policy advocate. He is also the founder and CEO of AYLDP. Thank you so much for being here, Gideon. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Alexandra. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We also have with us George Abeko Kweko, a renowned HR professional who also serves as a teaching assistant at the University of Ghana Business School. Thank you so much for being with us. All right, let's begin by talking about the vision behind the AYLDP conference. So, to you, Mr. Gideon, what stood out to you most about the vision of the conference?
So, for me, it's about the fact that the conference was prepared to bring together young people and also bring into the room experts who have lived life, experts who have created, experts who have innovatively design systems that would challenge the African narrative and would challenge the status quo. So for me, in that room, like I said when I was at the program, I said that the room was full of opportunities. It was full of connections, and the room was just um, it was a space where you enter and you never leave the way you came in. And so
Mm,
having all those experienced thought leaders and professionals and who people who have lived the life, I think that the experience basically was that there was no it was not just about motivations, it was about practical soft skills that anybody who entered the room would live with. So you don't just come in and go as a regular person, but you come in and live as someone who has a practical soft skills to go and execute something that you are preparing to do. For me, that was the concept of the theme. That was what stood out for me. Yeah.
mm. Well, yeah, that's incredible, and it was such an honor to MC with you, especially because we had so much fun eating up the things that the speakers were saying, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there were the audience was there, they were enjoying, but to be honest, I think we enjoyed much more than they did because we were
Of
right in
course.
front of
Of
them,
course.
eating up
So
what they
yeah,
were
of course.
saying. Yeah, it was
We did,
incredible.
we
It
did
was
because it
incredible.
was it was fun. I remember before the event started, we engaged with the audience. We were trying to get to know them. We're trying to bring them into the room. Some of them were a
Mhm.
little bit reserved to get involved, but then we had to make sure that they are into the room. And I
Yeah.
think that from that we were able to build the confidence that everybody had within them. And it was a nice experience, Alexander. It was a nice experience. You were elegantly dressed, and it was. I don't even know how to
Oh,
even describe, but it was an absolutely nice experience. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
yeah, so did I. So did I. Okay, so the next question is, why do you think leadership conferences are important for Africa's future? And so if Mr. Kwanko is ready, we can start with him.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and I hope I can be heard clearly.
Yeah.
Yes, you can be heard clearly. Good to see you.
Great. Good to see you too. It's awesome to have all of you online this morning, and
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Becca Africa, for this opportunity. I'm grateful. Yes, I think um, mentorship in general, it's a good thing that most African people are not yet gotten grasp of its importance. And so when I hear people say mentorship is outdated, mentorship is not important, I think it's something we have to revisit and look at because it's very important, and that's what helps the older generation to impact the younger generation. And so I think it's something that we should revisit. We should give special attention to because I think I'm a product of good mentorship, and I know all of us on this call, one way or the other, has experienced mentorship one way or the other and can speak to it better if you have firsthand experienced it. So that's just what I would say about the question you asked. I don't know if I answered the question. Yeah,
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thank you for
great.
that. And so, yes, also to you, Gideon, why do you think that, mentorship is very important? And why do you think that youth leadership conferences are important for the future of Africa?
Yes.
Right.
So, mentorship basically is assigning a high individual, someone who has lived and someone who has experienced, someone who has practiced, life, career, and all aspect of professional development, including businesses, entrepreneurship, and all of that, with someone younger who has lesser experiences. Mentorship could be in the professional environment, in the corporate, where a senior employee, takes a junior employee through some form of guidance. And so you know that at every point in time, it's good to learn from people who have advanced than you. So I think that sharing experiences is important for so that people can share their experiences in what they don't know and also learn from the experienced ones. And for me, that's what I think. One reason why I think that mentorship is important. And when it comes to conferences, why we organize conferences, I think that um, conferences help young people to go out of their nest. Sometimes there are so many opportunities that they may not easily have access to, but when we have the conferences, they are exposed to so many things, including entrepreneurship opportunities, technology and innovation, leadership development, some career pathways, scholarships. And let me say this, during the recent conference, I was engaging a lot of young people who were present, and then one person said, "Look, if I had not been here, I wouldn't have gotten an opportunity to do an internship with ABC company." So these are some of the benefits of organizing youth conferences in Africa, to expose them to the greater part of the world, and also expose them to all the African youth agenda, and also the SDGs beyond what they know in their environment, because sometimes the environment has of course opportunities and all of that, but sometimes they are limited. But when these conferences come in place, they expose you to bigger opportunities and bigger platforms where you can have access. It's even give you access to connections, networks, right? You can be in your environment and you just have access to just the people you see every day. But when these conferences come in place, you know that you are meeting someone. I haven't met Magdan in person before, but because of the AYLDP conference, I was able to meet him, meet his two of his people that work with him. I've also met Dr. Irene, and I've met a lot of people at the conference, right? And it's all because of a youth leadership conference. And so I think this is how we build our network. One of the best ways to build our network, and also one of the best ways to broaden the minds and horizon of the youth. So this is why I think that youth conferences are important for the youth in Africa.
Thank you so much for that. That was really insightful, and I think that you were absolutely right. You're absolutely right. One thing that was emphasized during the conference was that young people should move from simply observing problems to actively creating solutions, right? And that leadership begins from personal growth and self awareness. So that leads me to ask the question, what leadership lesson from the conference really resonated with you, and why? So we can start with Mr. Kwanko.
Okay. Thank you very much for this question. I think that throughout the conference period, most of the speakers were very clear about collaborative leadership, and that one way or the other, they saw themselves being assisted by somebody, and through that assistance they got, it took them to where they are at the moment. So I've come to realize that it's very important that we are able to collaborate as individuals and as leaders to be able to achieve a common good. So let's take this for an instance. Even McDan said it, Mr. McDan said it, that throughout his entrepreneurial journey, he saw himself struggle from a group of people in a community where it looked as if people were not rising up to do the extraordinary. And so he saw himself do little things, and he was not ashamed to go to the little things to sell smaller things that most people do not know how to do now. So you take a graduate, for instance, who says that I'm not cut out to be a tailor. I'm not cut out to be somebody who sells water on the streets. I'm not cut out to do menial jobs, which they know can fetch them some money. And I listened to somebody speaking about a research she did or she conducted by the roadside. So she interviewed people who sell by the streets. So she interviewed a pure water seller. She interviewed what we call in Ghana, Kusiani Meko seller, and a few other people. And then she realized that the Kosciuszko Meko seller, which is egg and pepper, makes a minimum of 300 cedis of profits every single day for the things that she sells. And that analogy got me thinking that, so people want to be in an office where at the end of the month, they'll be paid some. I mean, we are in Ghana, we know how our employers can be sometimes. You can go to the office and then at the end of the month, they're going to be giving 1,500, 2,000 Ghana cedis. Out of this money is where you're going to take your feeding, probably your rent, and then your transportation. So somebody makes 300 Ghana cedis minimum, by the way, every day. This amount times 30 days in a week, sorry, in a month, gives you a very huge money. And that's just the profit she makes, a minimal of a day, which means that she's making more than some office people are making. However, these office people will dress nicely, will take a car, some of them will even take an Uber and will pay more on transportation. In the traffic, if the traffic is heavy, they tend to buy something on the road. I mean, to feel good because they're going to an office, they want to feel good. So all of these things gave me a different perspective that we need to have collaborative leadership, collaborative mentorship, and even as individuals, collaboratively come together and form partnerships where we do not have to necessarily rise alone. Because there's a saying that if you want to go very far, then you go alone. But if you want to go strong, you go with people. Most of us don't have strong businesses in this country because we are trying to catch and go to the top alone. And when that happens, you see that the people around you are going to depend on you. And before you know it, you're also going to come down because you're the only one going to be giving them almost all the time. So one of the leadership qualities I have learned from this conference is that we need to learn to collaborate. We need to learn to partner with people that are like-minded, people that share the same vision and the same analogy with us, so that we know that in this life alone, we are not on this journey alone. There are people who can hold our hands, people who we can partner with, bring forth great things. Thank you very much for this question once again.
Wow, wow, that was powerful. I've learned so much just by listening to you in this short time. It's better to work with people and go up stronger than to work alone and end up coming down anyway. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next question, which is my favorite, by the way. Why is emotional intelligence important for young leaders today? Mr. Dekbe, I think this is for you to start.
Yeah, so I think the center of everything is emotional intelligence. We let me use character. That during the conference we had all the speakers, all of them talk about character, right? All of them, from Dr. Irene, Dr. Pebby, and Reverend John, Magdan, even our panelists, all of them spoke about character in one way or the other. Now, Dr. Pebby says that, look, you can go to school and have whatever you want to have. Without character, you don't get anywhere. And they kept saying that your skills could get you into the room, but without character, you can never, be in the room. And when we talk about character, emotional intelligence is one of the attributes that we can, keep in that. Because now imagine that you are the office and, mistakenly somebody says something that provokes you. Now, if you don't have the intelligence to control your temper, if you don't have the intelligence to control the environment in which what happened has happened, you will end up causing a scene that will actually escalate issues. So I think that having emotional intelligence as a youth is actually one of the bases for professional development, personal growth, and even success in business. If a customer walks to you and says that you have not done something which you know that you have actually fulfilled without emotional intelligence, you may escalate, you may get out of hand, you may get out of your way to do something that is very uncalled for. But if you have the ability to control your emotions, you have the ability to control how the person is feeling. If so, emotional intelligence is not just about how you feel and how you control yourself. It's the ability to understand how you feel, how others feel, and how you are able to, use the two feelings to resolve, whatever is happening in the moment. So if you are not able to do this, if you are not able to understand how others are feeling and thinking, if you are not able to understand how you are feeling and thinking at a particular moment, you notice that you may be destroying relationships. Okay, so emotional intelligence also helps young people to build, high level relationships that even helps them in their businesses, helps them in their professional, development, and even their personal growth. So without that, there's a lot of challenges you might be facing along the line, and which is one of the reasons why I started with character, because then it becomes part of you, and everybody will judge you on that, and eventually people will say the person Gideon's character is not good. Gideon doesn't have a good attitude. Gideon doesn't have that. Meanwhile, it's just because you don't have a good emotional intelligence. So I think that emotional intelligence is important because as young people, it helps you to develop within you your ability to connect with people and also to build with people. As George said, there's no one on earth. We hear a lot of people say, I am a self-made woman, I'm a self-made man, and we hear a lot of that. But no one really has become successful on their own without getting help from people, without getting help. Even your workers are helping you. You do not just get up to become who you are. If you were going for a loan, there's definitely someone who even probably guaranteed for you. That is help, right? But if you don't have emotional intelligence, you might be blocking all of these opportunities that that might be coming your way, because probably your character will give you out. So this is why I think emotional intelligence is important for young people in business, in career, and personal development.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And Mr. Kweko, I would love to hear from you as well, your perspective on the importance of emotional intelligence for our youth today.
Right. Thank you very much. Three things primarily. I think emotional intelligence, as Gideon mentioned, is very important. Number one, I think it helps whether you're a leader or a follower. It helps you to manage yourself and other people very well, because you are not going to be selfish in how you perceive things. You understand that people are different in their own ways and in their own perspective. So you get to understand them first of all before you even react, or you even pull a trigger or something. So you are very conscious of your environment, and you learn to understand how people think and talk. So that's the first thing I believe emotional intelligence does for us. Number two, I think it also helps people to strengthen relationships and networks, because this is the truth. We are all different people. Gideon is a different person from myself. I understand things sometimes a bit different from Gideon. And so for us to be able to have a good team, to be able to collaborate and work together, I need to understand that Gideon is different. If Gideon is giving an opinion that I don't necessarily agree, I may have to understand from his perspective what he's saying. So Gideon is saying a six But from my end, I see a 9. And then if I'm not careful, I'll just conclude that Gideon is not good and I'll trash him away. But if I take my time and then understand why he's saying what he's saying, it gives me a leverage, and then our friendship grows and then matures. So that's what I think emotional intelligence also does for us as a people or as people. And then thirdly, I think it helps us to communicate effectively, because communication is literally everything. And if I am saying something and I'm not saying it well for you to understand and give proper feedback, either you're going to give me a wrong feedback, you're not going to respond at all because you probably didn't get what I was asking you to say. So I think emotional intelligence is very important, number one, for us to be able to understand ourselves and other people. Number two, it helps us to relate well with people. Number three, it helps us to communicate effectively. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you. I think that this is very important that we're talking about emotional intelligence because it's a skill that you build, right? It's not something that we are born with. And so it goes along with, during the conference, the speakers were talking about character, character, character. Emotional intelligence goes hand in hand with character. And so I'm really grateful for both your inputs. All right. Another question that I think is really powerful is what role does integrity and accountability play in leadership? So this question goes to Mr. Def Bay first.
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't know that I was muted. So I think that integrity and accountability. Did I get that right? Yes.
Yes.
So I think that integrity is actually the foundation for growth and for long-term success of young people, and accountability as well. So let me just say that personally, let me just use myself as an example. Um, you as a young person, when you have certain traits, it follows you. People identify it from a distance, and it helps you whether you can be in a room or you cannot be in a room. So as a leader, as a young leader who is building, if you have accountability, it means that you're able to report to your stakeholders, you're able to report to everybody who is involved in your life, you're able to report to everyone who is in your circle, and they get to understand your values, what you stand for. Now, not compromising on what is right and what is wrong is also one of the things that helps you grow. Now, accountability and integrity helps you to build trust and credibility among your circle and the people that you serve, right? So sometimes people are more willing to support a leader and mentor and employ or even partner with young people who are more accountable and have integrity than people who do not, because they know the partners want to deal with people who are honest, who are reliable, and people who they can respect, people who are accountable, someone that they can hold accountable to their word. Now, if you're a young leader and you do not have these, you missed out, and you are likely not to have partners. Now, integrity and accountability also helps to create a responsible leader within the individual. Okay, so you are committed to serving others, and you want to be sure that you are transparent, you are fair in your dealings, and you are also responsible for whatever decision that comes. And you also make sure that you make better decisions when you are helping the youth, okay, or when you are helping people that you serve. So I think that these are some of the reasons why integrity and accountability are important, both with stakeholders, with individuals, with us, and with anybody. And for me, one of my biggest values is integrity. Now, take it away, and it's like I will not be existing because everything I build is on integrity. I cannot function in an environment where integrity does not exist. A must be A and B must be B. You don't circle around. You don't, put people at discomfort. You don't say you are transparent when you are not transparent with stakeholders. Okay. So for me, these are some of the benefits, should I say, reasons why we need to go along with integrity and accountability as young leaders.
Oh, agreed. Agreed, 100%. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Quinco, I would love to hear from you as well why you think it's so important to have integrity as a young leader.
Right. Thank you very much. This is what I say most of the times, that integrity basically builds trust. If anyone wants to get the favor of their superiors or their bosses, just have integrity. Let them know that you are there when you have to be there. Let them know that you are there for them when you have to be there for them. And it's just a matter of time. They will begin to trust you. And when they trust you, they can commit to your hand a lot of things that you do not even think you are qualified to be entrusted in. And this is what I tell people, that trust is now the new currency for anybody who wants to thrive in this new world. So just like people want to say, oh, I want to be the next UN, whatever, I want to be the next entrepreneur, whatever. People should trust you to be able to say, if I want Pepsodent, I'm going to Colgate or I'm going to Pepsodent. If I want any perfume to buy, I'm going to this brand or that brand, because they trust that you are able to give good and quality products. So I believe that integrity, accountability is very important, both for a follower and a leader as well. For the leaders, if your people can trust that you will be there for them, you have integrity. You don't shy away from accountability. When there is something that needs to be communicated, you do it effectively. I think when you are a leader and you do that, your people begin to entrust into you their time. So they are leaders that they call upon their workers or their staff, even at 9 p.m. after working hours, and their staff will respond because they can trust that this leader of mine has good integrity. He's accountable not just to himself because he thinks he's the boss, but he's accountable even to us, his staff members. And that helps, because it's unfortunate that most people in this country, not okay, I'll not say most people, some people in this country who are in the leadership begin think that, oh, I'm the boss, I'm not supposed to be accountable to anybody, I should live the way I want to live anyhow, and after all, I am the boss, I make decisions, people follow. But people are also not, in quote, fools. When they see that you do not give them the reverence they deserve, or you don't give them the respect they deserve, they begin to retract. So when they need to go the extra mile, you find them finding it very difficult to want to do that, because after all, this leader doesn't even see what I'm doing. It doesn't even acknowledge me when I'm doing something good. It doesn't even appreciate me when I'm putting in all my best. So rather, I will just pull back, watch him struggle, and then when he needs me, he calls on me. When I can, I help. So all of these things makes trust an important thing for all of us to have. And you can have trust with people and for people if they have integrity in your sight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wow. So much great insight from you both. I'm really grateful to be part of this and to learn as well. I'm sure that the viewers are also really enjoying your input. So thank you so much for that. Another major focus of the conference was youth empowerment through innovation and entrepreneurship. So, my question to you both would be, how do you believe entrepreneurs can empower young people economically and socially? We can start with Mr. Quaco.
Hi, hi,
Gideon,
Alexandra. I
you
think
can
I
go ahead.
lost you.
Oh, no, you did? Is it clear now?
Hi. Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you from my end. I think Gideon has
Awesome.
a little bit of challenge. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay, so then we can start with you with the question.
certainly,
How
certainly.
how
So
can
yes, you may want to
yes,
repeat it. I don't mind taking it.
okay, awesome. So how
Yeah.
can entrepreneurs empower young people economically and socially?
Right. I believe that for well-established entrepreneurs, what they can do to support we the young people is for financially, they can come up with mentorship opportunities and allocate some financial rewards to, I mean, the best mentor or something. I mean, I have seen some people who are entrepreneurs benefit from some of these grants from a few successful entrepreneurs in this country, and I see that as a very good tool for them to be able to support the younger generation who are trying to, I mean, make ends meet. Because, of course, they always tell us that, oh, you can't all be employed in this country. The country needs equal, but it needs some balance. You know, people who are going to work for the public sector, people who are going to work for the private sector, and people who are going to be self-employed. And so I think some of the ways the well-established entrepreneurs can do is that they assist to mentor younger people who want to be in entrepreneurship with mentorship opportunities and be able to, I mean, support them with some grants so that they can also see themselves climbing the ladder of financial freedom, if I may say. Now, socially, I think they can do this by engaging them to events they attend and also helping these young entrepreneurs to meet other entrepreneurs who they can partner and collaborate with in their line of or field of services or whatever they are doing. I have seen how I have met people at events. Even though I'm not an entrepreneur, I've seen how meeting people at events and being introduced to them through people I know have been very, very beneficial to me. And I don't downplay that at all. So sometimes when I'm going to a conference or I'm going for an event, I tell a few friends, oh, Charlie, let's go for this conference because I have seen how beneficial they have been over the time and how some of these people I met at these conferences, by just saying hi to them and letting them know what I do and what I'm interested in, has been very beneficial to my growth over the years. So I think entrepreneurs can help support the younger people financially by assisting them with mentorship and also some grants if possible, and socially by holding their hand to events, to meeting people who are also in their field, or even not even in their field necessarily, but I mean they're able to introduce them to other entrepreneurs or people who can invest into them. Because I mean, you don't just need the money, you also have to meet people who would teach you and show you how to even get the market. Because if you have the products and nobody's buying, you're not in the business. So you need to both have the money and have people who would purchase from you to give you the financial freedom that you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to our audience, thank you for joining us. Please feel free to comment in the chat. What do you think about the question? How can entrepreneurs, help us as young people in whatever way or capacity that they can? We are very eager to hear from you what you think. All right, so I'm going to move on because we are a little bit right on time, but we need to move on. So I would like to ask you this. How can people contribute positively to nation building without, even if they don't have any political office or they are not in any position of authority? How can young people contribute to building the nation as a whole?
Right. When we were younger, I mean, junior high school, senior high school, we used to be told that, oh, we are the future generation. We need to learn. We need to go a lot of things and all of that. And that's what we believed. I mean, they were not wrong telling us those things. I think what they didn't tell us was that whatever decisions we're going to make now, after that time, was what we would see in the future. So if we are planting the seeds of not developing values and integrity, we will definitely see it be catching up with us in the few years to come. And that's what we are seeing now. I see some of my friends, and I am just happy to see how growth has happened to them. And this is because I saw how they were able to hold values, and then they were very hardworking. And now some of them are lawyers, some of them are doctors, some of them are great entrepreneurs, some of them are in the IT space doing excellently well. And what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that as young people, we can contribute to nation building without necessarily being in politics by being hardworking. And we need to develop values and integrity. I can't say this more than enough because I got a gig from somewhere last year, I think somewhere in December, because somebody said, oh, they just believe I can do this. They haven't seen me do it before, but they just said they believe I can do it. That's why they got it for me. And so we can help um, build the nation as young people when we develop integrity and good values. We don't have to think that riches are made overnight. Wealth creation takes time. I'm not so old to say this, but I have seen it happening for people. I've had people who are in their late ages talk to me about how it took them years to build whatever they call wealth now. And it didn't take them using crooked ways, it didn't take them swindling their way around people, it didn't take them robbing people of what they have worked hard to get. So we can develop our nation by being hardworking. People just go to work and then they say, oh, this my boss crash, she's not serious, he's not serious, he doesn't love me the way I think he should, he doesn't care for me the way I think he should, so let me just leave anyhow, let me just try and contribute to my quota and leave. I don't have to do the extra mile. If it's five, before even five, I'm even packing my things and I'm leaving because any extra allowance. We need to be hardworking. We need to develop values. We need to develop trust with people. When we have these things, certainly they help to grow the country as a whole. And before you know it, development to the other. So that's just by way of submission from my end. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much. We lost you a little bit, but I think you were able to recover. Welcome back, Mr. Digbe.
Thank you, thank you. I don't know what was happening today. I was just going on and off.
Oh, that's okay. It's probably the network, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So I would like to ask you the same question. Maybe you can shed some light from your perspective. How can
Yeah.
young people contribute positively to nation building, even if they do not have any skills in regards to political offices or they're in places of authority?
Okay. So I think that George has said an important bit about integrity, building integrity. And, as young people in your offices, in your houses, in your communities, one important thing you need to do is building integrity. And integrity helps to do a lot of things. When you have that as a value, you know that you will not engage in nepotism, you will not engage in corruption, you will not engage in ethnicity. Is it, all this tribal bigotry and all of that? When you have integrity, you don't engage in all of that. So that's an important aspect that George has already, touched on. And the other thing for me, the most important thing is participating in community development and social activities and programs. So we are young people, we are in a community, we don't have all the skills, we don't have political skills, we don't have political affiliations, but we still want the better for our country, we still want the better for our communities. And for me, that's one of the things that stand for the most. Okay, how can we develop our communities without relying on political affiliations or political powers or political superpowers, if you ask me. All right. So the minor things we in our communities, like sanitation campaigns, like educational support programs, environmental projects like health awareness campaigns and youth mentorship initiatives. These are the major minor, activities that we can engage ourselves in to support nation building. For me, these are the basic ones. Okay, you assuming you don't have the resources, you don't have the political affiliation. In fact, you see, you don't have to be politically affiliated or politically inclined to start developing a nation or to be part of a nation developing cause. Okay, what you need is personal conviction. What do you stand for? If for you, what you have is maybe you have an expertise in artificial intelligence and digital skills transformation, how can you use that skill to help three people in your circle? Fine, I can help them train. I can train them to understand what artificial intelligence is, the benefits and the impact it has on the current livelihood of individuals. If you're able to help that, you are helping build a nation. Because one, through that training, you can help someone find a job. And once you help someone find a job, you've helped someone out of a social vice. You've helped someone gain probably employment, and they are not going to go back to, break through somebody's door to, take their money. You are helping them to find a source of income. Okay, so every little skill that we have, we when we use that to help others, we are helping the nation building. Say that I'm a young person, I help mobilize a youth in my community on a sanitation campaign. Now government saves that resources that they have to use for these sanitation campaigns or cleaning, and they can use it for a more macroeconomic project. While in the community becomes clean, we solve diseases, we solve, malaria outbreak, we solve all sort of, sicknesses that may come out of the community. That is nation building. It goes up to help the nation's health index, right? So I think that as youth, we don't need to really actually, of course, that's another angle. People want to lead from the top, people want to lead from the back, people also want to lead from the middle. That's fair. Those who want to do it politically, that is fair. But you don't need to be politically inclined or politically affiliated to start building a nation or to be part of the nation building, actors. You can do it from what you have and within the space that you find yourself in.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think all that you said is very motivational and very empowering because, you know, I'm sure a lot of youth are very eager and are burning to help in whatever way they can.
Yeah.
But maybe some people don't even know or they don't even understand that they can help right now,
Yeah.
even though they are not yet in that place of authority. Thank you so
Right.
much for that.
Mm.
But I wanna ask this last question. Why
Mhm.
is youth participation in governance important for sustainable development?
Why is youth participation in governance important for
Mm-hmm.
sustainable development? Well,
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the interesting topics that I've been making us about on LinkedIn. Take Africa, for example. Africa has the largest growing youth, what they call the youth watch. It's like about 60% of Africa's population are youth. 60% of Africa's population are youth. And we are talking about people who are under the age of 25. Okay. So in essence, it means that you cannot be in governance and not include the young people. Because in 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years to come, it is these people that are going to be running the policies. In fact, I'm not even supposed to say in 10 or 15 years. It is these people that are running the policies that are supposed to be running the policies. Because if the population is made up of these people, it is them that have to be at the forefront, leading what the youth understands the best. Someone who has lived, like we always experience that. So let me use in Ghana here, let me use a regional minister for Ashanti region. The guy is doing so well. He's on the ground. He's helping the grassroots. Let me use that. He's helping businesses owned by young people. He's helping students who had acts. He's literally everywhere. And this is a young person. He's in mid 30s, early to mid 30s. And this is someone who understands what the grassroots needs. This is someone who understands what really it means for young people to experience development. Okay. So if as young people we are in a community where we are surrounded by us, because I say young people, we are surrounded by us, young people, and we have the older generation who are leading us. It means in the end, no changes happen, right? So I think that it's very important to keep the young people at the forefront of leadership and governance and help them, tool them, equip them, and give them the resources they need in order to, lead the change, because they are actually the change. Without them, you actually do things that you think are the best. You design policies you think are the best, but in the long run, they help no one, because our population is all about the young people, the Gen Zs, and all of that. Without that, I don't think any country can move on. So I think that it is important for all of us, policymakers and even leaders, to factor youth in every decision they make, and in even leading in governance as well.
Thank you so much for that. It has been such an honor and a pleasure to have you both in this webinar. Wow, I've learned so much, and I think the main theme for me is that leadership is not necessarily about politics or titles. And, every young person has the ability to influence change through service,
Yeah.
through responsibility, through positive actions. So before I conclude, I would like to share an important leadership and professional development opportunity with everyone. So if you are in leadership, governance concerns you, Burka Africa and MDPI present Mastering the Art of Corporate Governance through Executive Coaching and International Leadership Development, facilitated by Liziane Kwedoji on Wednesday, 24th June 2026 at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Airport View Hotel. This is designed for directors, for managers, government professionals, team leaders, professionals aspiring to serve on boards. Discounts are available for organizations registering 5 or more participants, and seats are limited, so please hurry, my dear audience. As we come towards the end of today's webinar, I'd like us to reflect on the final question. What kind of Africa do you hope today's leaders will build over the next decades? Let's think about that deeply. Please, my dear audience, feel free to write in the chat box in the comment section what you think. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and valuable contributions today. I want to thank my dear speakers. You guys were absolutely amazing. I learned so much, and I am sure that the viewers learned as well. This webinar reminds us that Africa's future really does depend greatly on the kind of leaders young people choose to become today. Let us continue to lead with purpose, integrity, innovation, and compassion. On behalf of the organizers, thank you once again for joining us, and we hope to see you at future AYLDP engagements. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you.
As the corporate sector evolves, Burka Africa remains committed to cultivating world-class thought leaders and providing innovative, human-centered solutions that shape